Hey everybody, this is Jose here. We are about to start in around 20 seconds. This is a sound check. Please go ahead and confirm on the chat box that you hear my voice. Everything should be fine, but a nice confirmation would be appreciated. And good to see you all, by the way. Good to see you all. I've been seeing that chat as well, Marcus. Love to see you guys working together. Wonderful. Perfect. Loud and clear. Very good. So let's get started, everybody. Let's get started. We'll get our introduction slide up so we can officially start the session. So let's begin. Welcome to the session, everyone. My name is Jose Blasco. I will be your guide. Today it's 21st of July 2019. We are getting together. Actually, I made a mistake with the slide. Actually, we are not getting together for sharpening. We are getting together for short-term trading, which means as well that it's not 21st of July, but 23rd of July. Sorry for that. And as you know, normally when we get together on the Tuesdays, the goal is to identify trading opportunities for intraday purposes, find those opportunities and ideally execute them together, or at the very least, have an opportunity for me to share the rules of the trade, the specific parameters, entry, stops, targets, etc. So after the session is over, you can go ahead and execute those trades, okay? But of course, the key goal is to execute those trades together. So I would like to request, which not really needed to request because you guys always do a very good job, but just to use a funny word, I would like to request teamwork in today's session, meaning that any question you have, please go ahead and type it on the chat box. If I have questions for you, please go ahead and provide the answers in the chat box as well. And as we are planning trades together, feel free to comment if you have any comment. And as I execute those trades, feel free to mimic me or follow me. And of course, you would decide if you want to use real capital or you want to use paper money, and also the size of your trades. But I will be clicking on the button, and of course, the best you could do, I would say, is that to click the button too, especially if you are in learning stages, because you learn through practice, isn't it? So use paper money if that's the case, and follow me. And if not, if you have more experience and you are more confident about the methodology and yourself as a trader, so you can also use real capital. Anyway, before we start, disclaimer: the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive when using our products. And this takes care of the introduction slide. So as I close the introduction slide, we are left with a beautiful TradeStation, beautiful workspaces. As you can see on the bottom left, I got a workspace for, you can see here, the S&P futures, and right next to it, we got the NASDAQ futures. So two workspaces ready on TradeStation. Apart from TradeStation, I also have, of course, TradingView ready for our Forex trades. So I'm going to have my setup ready. I will have a list of currency pairs. We'll start with the majors, okay? So we'll have the majors here ready to be executed. In this one, I am using the 240 minute and the 21. What I will do as well is go ahead and open a new chart layout, so I can also use the 60 minute time frame combined with the 8. Okay, so that way we will be able to plan on opportunities where some are very short term and others are less short term, but still short term. Is that making sense? 60 and 240 for the Forex, and we got our futures equity index markets with the 15 minute time frame below. And of course, because it's futures and it's centralized, apart from the 2 minute time frame, we got our share bars and our tick charts as well, and we are ready to go. Okay, so little summary to begin the session. Make sure everybody is in the same page and we are ready to go. So let's begin with the S&P. Analysis for the S&P. 2 minutes ago, we had a close above the moving average with a blue colored DMI. So what does that mean? That means that the market is moving up, and while the market is moving up, the DMI is confirming that fact. When the moment the market is confirmed, the market condition is confirmed to you, we are now in what we normally call a strong market, okay, strong climate, if you wish, and in that strong climate, we're gonna shoot for a further away target. So when setting targets, okay, we will use not the 15-minute time frame, but we will switch it to the 60. And once we are in the 60-minute time frame, again, we are switching to the 60 because the market condition is strong. If the market condition was not strong, we will remain in the 15. So with this 60-minute time frame, we will now activate our beautiful AutoUFOs that are showing us a pretty significant amount of room for movement, all the way from current price to 3014. So 3014, that would be the value for targets on the S&P based on the 60-minute time frame. Okay, so again, 14 points to the upside. It's the potential of room for movement based on where the price is as we speak. Okay, so which is a pretty good news. It's always nice to see those UFOs further away, because the more away they are, the more potential for profit you have. And normally also, not only that, normally the speed of movement is also faster. Okay, you gain a little bit of a peak of volatility. Okay, so I'm just looking at the targets first. So I'm going to do the same with the NASDAQ, and then we'll look at the entries. Okay, so what do we have with the NASDAQ? Very similar environment. So we had the prior close to be above the average, and the DMI is blue color. Okay, blue color, and therefore we are talking about a confirmed market condition. So with the NASDAQ, I'm going to do the same thing, switch to the 60-minute time frame, and then turn on my UFOs, so we know where the target would be. Okay, and in this case, notice how it seems that we may need to, we don't see anything anywhere close by. We may need to load more data on our screen to be able to find those UFOs. Right now I'm loading 500 bars. I'll load 2000 to see if that way I end up uncovering a UFO. Okay, so why is that happening? We don't see any UFO. Actually, we still have pending data. Okay, so the data is being downloaded. So when you are in a situation like that where you don't see the UFO and you are loading data and you are wondering, am I making all times high? Is this the reason? Okay, well, it's always good to go back to the daily time frame, okay, to understand where you are at. Okay, and in this case, the daily time frame, okay, is showing you that we have a little bit of price above. Okay, so it's interesting to see in the 60-minute time frame that even though we have some price above, as you can see, none of it, okay, even though we have the AutoUFOs turned on, you know it because of the check mark, okay, none of this qualifies as proper areas for target. And this is one of those situations. Okay, if I switch to the monthly, for example, okay, notice how the NASDAQ is all the way up here. There is nothing on the left. In other words, we are now in the process of making all times high, and even though we are not really doing all times high yet, the UFOs above price are not showing up, meaning that they are not of a high quality. So in cases like that, I just want to be a little careful. Okay, and you could certainly take the trade and just keep trailing stop without a final target. You could do that. That's option number one, which is, by the way, is an option I will love when it comes to doing swing trades and things like that. But when it comes to doing intraday trades, you normally want to close the trades before the end of the day. That's why it's called intraday. And therefore, having those infinite targets when the markets make all times high, it's a little bit too hopeful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is switch my show labels from false to true. Not the show labels, guys. I just used the wrong muscle memory. The hide hid UFOs, that's the one I wanted. I want to switch it from true to false. So it's going to show me all the UFOs, and notice how there are some UFOs up here. They are of a low quality. Okay, they are of a low quality. That's why they were hidden. Okay, but at the same time, because I am planning on intraday trades, okay, I somehow want to find a way to take a target at some place that may make sense, and therefore I'm going to use the upper rectangle as a target, just not to have one of those infinite targets, because that's an intraday trade. Okay, so again, if you are planning on a swing with a higher time frame, then don't do this. Okay, but for intraday, it's a little bit of a variation of the things that I normally do. But today, obviously, this makes a lot of sense given the market condition with no red UFO above. Okay, so 7992.75. Make sure you make a note. That would be your target. Okay, I'm not going for the first rectangle. I'm not going for the first UFO. Why? Because again, that was not even in the chart a minute ago, right? So I don't want to cap my profits using UFOs which are of a low quality. But you know what? If I go through the first one and I get to the second one, which is the second dotted line here, well, you know, again, those are of a low quality, right? And the market may keep going higher. But, you know, it would be reasonable to say, okay, we're going to take profits there and the trade is over because, again, one more time, we are planning on an intraday trade, okay? So I'm going to disable the UFOs, go back to the 15-minute time frame, and what I have found out in the past few minutes is that now, if I plan a trade to the long side on the S&P, this trade will have a target located at 30.14, and if I was to plan a trade long with the Nasdaq, this trade will have a target located at 7992.75. Okay, this is what I now know. Since I now know this, okay, this is now time to plan on the entries. Okay, and to plan on the entries, we'll start with the Nasdaq. What I want to do is look at the average price, okay, which, by the way, we are currently exactly trading at the average price. You can see the blue dot is exactly where the gray line is. So in one hand, it would be a perfect time for entering, but we cannot enter unless there is a green UFO. Okay, and problem is that this green UFO right here, that one is below the average. Okay, that one is below the average because the current price is right here, and we haven't reached the UFO yet, meaning that UFO is below the average, so that's no good. Those UFOs are also below the average, and that UFO is also below the average. In other words, we don't have a confluence, we don't have this beautiful setup where the UFOs and the average are lining up. We don't have that. Therefore, we will just wait until one of two things may happen, which is number one, a new UFO will form in a few minutes from now, and this one may be lining up. Okay, this one may be lining up with the average, and therefore we'll wait for price to come back, take the trade, okay, and hopefully we'll be in a nice profitable trade. That would be the idea. So option number one, wait, just keep an eye on this, because anytime you could have a new UFO form. Or option number two, wait 5 more minutes, because 5 more minutes from now, this is when we'll have a new close, so you can reevaluate where that close is going to happen, knowing that if the close happens below the average, guess what? We would have changed the trend from an up market to a down market, and therefore having the market condition, having the climate changed, then you will need to plan trades in the opposite direction. You would need to plan entries to short instead of entries to go long. At the moment, we are still with a long bias in our plan. Okay, so with the S&P, we're going to do the same thing. So we have the average pointing at 29.99. So 29.99 is right here, and we have no green UFO at this point. We have a UFO, but just like the Nasdaq, is a little below. Same thing is happening in here. We have a green UFO, but it's also below the average. And same thing is happening here, where you also have UFOs, but it's also below the average. Okay, so unfortunately, even though we do have a market condition that is clearly defined, we have a clear climate. Okay, market is up, it's a non-market. It's confirmed by the DMI. So even though the climate is clear, unfortunately, we don't have our triggering condition to enter being met at the moment in time, because the UFOs are not lining up with that average. Okay, so we are just gonna wait until that happens. We know it could happen in any moment. Okay, so patience, as we always say in the session, it's very, very important. Okay, so in the meantime, no wasted time. Let's move into the Forex markets. We'll start with the majors. So I start with the majors, looking at the 60-minute time frame. So what do we have? With the Aussie dollar, we have a close below the average. DMI is red, so we have a confirmed climate. It's a down market, okay? And the average at this moment in time, it's pointing at 70.24, as you can see right here, okay, or right here in gray color, 70.24, okay? And we happen to have our red UFO at 70.25, also 70.24 on the 8R. Okay, so we do have a perfect condition here to get into a trade with this falling Australian dollar. So we're gonna look for the target by activating AutoUFOs on the 60-minute time frame and switching the 60-minute time frame to the 4-hour time frame one more common time frame, isn't it? Because we're looking for targets and the condition is define. And by doing that, we realize now that the target should be located at 7013. Okay, 7013 is that green UFO right here. Okay, so really there is very little room for profit. Okay, I'm just gonna make a note. And by the way, 7013, because it's Forex, we need to add 2 more pips, right? Because it's a buy order, so it's gonna be 7015. Okay, 7015. And now we know where the target should be. Now I'm a little concerned the target may be a little too close for this trade to make sense. So before my comments are unfairly negative to the trade, let's go ahead and mechanically, without thinking too much, plan the trade. You know what, actually it doesn't look too bad. So we got 7025, 7028. Okay, so if we were to do this trade, let's write it down. Oh, I just clicked on the wrong keyboard combination. So let's go ahead and type this trade. So if we were to enter this trade, we would have a stop above, we would have a short entry below, we would have a safety target below all of this, and then finally we would have a final target, where the final target, we already know what it is 0.7015. That we know that. Okay, so what about the other figures? Well, the stop, okay, is going to be 0.7029, right? So I'm taking 28.1 and rounding it up, 29, and then because it's a buy order and because it's also a stop, we're gonna have to add 7, so that would make it 36. Okay, that would be that stopping point. The entry is gonna be 0.7025. Okay, therefore we are talking about 11 pips of risk. Okay, so 11 pips of risk. If I take 25 and I diminish it by 11, so we're gonna have a problem, because that would push this value down to 7014, which is even lower than the final target. So basically your safety target is lower than the final target. So what's the problem? The red UFO that we found in the Australian dollar chart was too close. Okay, it was too close, and therefore Australian dollar would not qualify for this trade. So I'm going to go back to the equities, because we're about to have a close on the 15-minute time frame, and when I'm done with the equities, I will come back to Forex and continue working on my list. Then later on we'll look at the euro. I have a question from Marcus. How are you, Marcus? Jose, today I had a situation where my entry UFO was within the target 2 alien UFO. I guess in this situation we skip the trade rather than looking for the next target. You had where the entry UFO was within the target. Okay, I get you. I misunderstood your question for a minute. Yeah, you would actually take the trade, Marcus. You would actually take the trade, because remember, in a down market, the buy on field orders will tend to be cancelled. Just like in an up market, the sell on field orders will tend to be cancelled. Okay, so you would take the trade and you would just shoot for the next UFO as your target, expecting that first UFO to be taken away when those orders are cancelled, because it's a down market. Okay, so you would do that. The problem I just had with the Australian dollar is that I was not inside that UFO yet, and if I was not inside that UFO yet, then that one becomes my target. Okay, but if I was inside, think about it. If I am inside, it means on-field orders are being filled because price is inside. And on top of that, in a down market, buy on-field orders are likely to be cancelled. So that removes a lot of the power that is available in that UFO. Okay, so if you were to be crazy conservative, Marcus, I get your point. But also crazy conservative means that you are not open to take risk, and therefore you are not going to get the reward. Okay, so in trading, we don't need to be that perfectionist. Okay, this is a comment I made many times in the room, because some of us, I'm the same personality, by the way. You know, years ago when I started learning how to trade, I was always looking for the perfect setup, and you need to understand the perfect setup does not exist. So whenever the rules are met, that's the perfect setup. Okay, and we have no rule that say that when price is inside of an rival UFO, don't take the trade. Okay, actually it's not a problem, because the fact that you're already inside that UFO means that many orders have been consumed already, and on top of that, because you have the market condition in your favor, those remaining unfilled orders will likely be cancelled, so the next UFO becomes your target. Okay, Marcos, hopefully this answers your question. Okay, it's a little counterintuitive, okay, but if you think about it, it's a lot of common sense. Okay. Anyway, so what do we have? We had a new close, okay, in here. On the S&P, the close is still above the average. The DMI is still confirming. So we are still having a defined climate, confirmed climate. It's sunny. The market is going up, isn't it? So therefore, we are looking for entries. Because the market has been moving very slow in the last 2-3 candles, the average is just a little higher from 29.99 earlier. Now is 29.99.21, so about the same. So unfortunately, we still have no UFO lining up with this price. Okay, as you can see, no UFO at this price, no UFO at this price, and no UFO at this price, and therefore we have to wait in the S&P. For the Nasdaq, let's see what we've got. With the Nasdaq, we have here a little bit of a challenge. So the closing price was 56.75. 56.75. The average is 56.8. Okay, so actually the Nasdaq closed below. Okay, the Nasdaq closed below with the DMI still being blue. In other words, we have a confirmation. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We have a contradiction. That's what I meant to say. We have a contradiction, and therefore our climate is not defined. We have an unconfirmed market condition. In a case like this is where we would now look at the Nasdaq and look for targets in the same time frame 15. We would not look at targets in the 60. We would use the 15, and therefore our targets, if we were to get short, would be 49.5. Okay, so 49.5. Okay, so 79, 49.5 would be our target on the Nasdaq. Have a problem though. For me to be able to get short, I need red UFOs, and as you can see, I have no red UFO, no red UFO, no red UFO above. Okay, therefore, I don't have an opportunity to get short, at least for now. So again, both with the S&P and the Nasdaq, I need to be waiting. With the S&P, I'm waiting for it to go up and create new UFOs for me. Where the Nasdaq, I'm waiting it to go down and create new red UFOs for me. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those beautiful ruby UFOs that are still pending to show up. Okay, Marcos, okay, so even if the rival UFO is many time frames higher and we enter within it, we still enter, okay? Yes, we still enter. And by the way, the higher the time frame, when you look at the stats, you will see the stats are less. Okay, so the higher the time frame, doesn't need to scare you. Okay, a higher time frame is likely a place where more orders have been cancelled compared to a lower time frame where it's likely a place where less orders have been cancelled. Okay, so no worries about that. Again, another counterintuitive comment, but if you think about it, it's again common sense. Bojan, I took the S&P long off of a reactive time frame, a green UFO. Okay, got it. So Bojan, I've seen you do that before. Okay, so you have been using some of the UFOs created in the reactive time frame for your entry. Okay, now this is a little how do I put it? A little in the daring side. Daring, I'm saying that with a smile on my face, because to be honest, it's absolutely fine as long as you do it with good management of your emotions and of course with the rules, and that you do it all the time, or you never do it. Okay, you don't want to do, okay, today I feel like I'm going to use the reactive time frames, or okay, tomorrow I don't feel like using the reactive time frames today I'm going to use the edge time frames. Okay, so if you were to do that, then you're creating variability in your methodology, and that's going to be problematic. Okay, so make sure you don't do that, okay, and you just follow a set of rules, which I'm sure you're doing, but I wanted to make this comment for the group. Okay, by the way, as we speak, look at what we just got in here. We just got a new UFO form, which is indeed lining up with the average. So my friends, we have a trade to be executed. Okay, we have a trade to be executed. This is 25, this is 78, so 25.5, there's going to be a midpoint. Yeah, so we're going to have the stop right in the middle of this. Okay, so good, let's go for it. So Nasdaq trade, let's enter this trade. I'm going to use 2 contracts. I'm going to use a long with two limits and 1 stop. And by the way, I love this time, 8 minutes before the market opens, because if we are right on this trade, we're gonna see a very fast profit kick in. Of course, we can also be wrong on the trade, and therefore we're gonna see a loss happen quickly, which is also fine. Okay, that's 58.75. Okay, I just wanted to double check that. So again, OSO long, 2 limits, 1 stop. So our entry is going to be 79.58.75. That's going to be the entry. Our stops is going to be 79.55.5. So 79.55.5. Our final target, we said it before, it's going to be 79. Let me say that again. Yeah, 79.90. Wait a minute. I'm about to make a mistake here. We had a close below. Okay, I cannot do this trade with the Nasdaq. Okay, the Nasdaq is in a down market. I can maybe do it with the S&P. Not yet. We have what's the top here? The top is 98.25. This is 3,000. Yeah, if the S&P goes down, it's going to bring this average much closer to this UFO. We're not there yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the S&P is I'm going to prepare the trade, and I will not click the button until 15 minutes from now. Okay, so I'm not going to use the matrix this time, because if I use the matrix, then the trade would go in. So I'm going to use 98. That was 98.25. So OSO long, 2 limits, 1 stop. So it's going to be 29.98.25. That's going to be the entry. So the stop is going to be 29.96.5. 29.96.5. That's going to be the stop. The final target we said was going to be 30.14. And now the only thing I have to calculate here is the distance between entry and stop, which is 98.25 to 96.5. That's 1.75 points. So if I add these to 29.98.25, which is the entry, that's going to bring this safety target to exactly 3,000. Okay, so this is going to be the trade, but I'm not going to click on the send order button yet, because I want to look at my 15-minute time frame. We'll have an update on this one in 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes from now. We'll have a new close. The moment we have a new close, the moving average will recalculate, and I would like to see what is the new value. I'm expecting to be quite flat, and if it's quite flat, then I will place the order, because I would anticipate that if this market falls a little bit, okay, if it falls a little bit, then the average would be lining up with these values. Okay, so because of course having the price going from 3,000 to 29.98, that's 2 points going down. 2 points going down may drop my average by like 1 point, and if it drops by 1 point, that's 98, which 98 happens to be my entry. Okay, so I am a little bit of anticipating what may be, getting my order placement tool in place and ready, so we can execute this trade together in just a few minutes. Okay, and I would like to also resummarize the mini mistake I almost made with the Nasdaq. Okay, just in case I got someone confused. Okay, so remember the Nasdaq had a close below the average. Okay, and therefore it's a down market. It was not confirmed because the DMI was blue, but because we had a close below the average, we need to give priority to the close below the average, and therefore it was a non-confirmed market going down. So I cannot get long the Nasdaq. Okay, but I could get long the S&P. So that's what I'm going to do with this trade. Okay, that's why I canceled the order. I was halfway into placing with the Nasdaq. That would have been a mistake. I'm not allowed to go long based on my rules. Okay. So anyway, we got like 3 minutes and a half, and we'll get the close, and we'll decide if we're gonna click the send order button or we will not. Okay, to me it's looking like it's gonna be fine, and even if you were to click now, it's fine too. But just to be 100%. Exactly where I need to be, I'm just gonna wait 2 minutes and a half now until we got the update of the average. Okay, so I'm just looking at everything around. Yep. Okay. Brent, if you don't see a green UFO at that particular price level, maybe it's because you're using a different calibration settings compared to mine. My calibration settings are 0.618. Okay, so if you change it to the same settings I have, you should see the same UFO I see. And I'm not saying that you have to use 618. If you use a different calibration setting, it's absolutely fine. Okay, we talked about calibration, in a very long session that we once did over the weekends as a sharpening session, isn't it? So you don't need to use the same settings I use. Okay, but if you were to use the same settings I do, then you would see the same UFOs I have. Okay. Cool. So what do we have? So it's 9:28 and 20 seconds in New York at the moment. So we still have 1 minute and 35 seconds to go. Yeah, exactly. Good, perfect, Brent. Yeah, good one to mention this in the chat box so you can see it. You can see the reason why. Okay, so good one. Okay, so 1 minute 10, and here's what I'm gonna do. And again, I'm gonna have a little exception to break a rule here. Okay, and so we never break rules. Okay, but what happens right at the market open is that everything moves very quickly, and as you know, futures markets are first in, first out. So normally I will need to wait 1 minute to place my order. Okay, but I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna do it now, just because it happens to be in front of the market open when normally everything accelerates. Okay, so I'm just gonna click send order. This is just a few seconds normally before the time when you would do it, so it's not like I'm doing a major sin, if you know what I mean. I just want to make sure my order is in the system and I don't get in trouble. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm just realizing a little problem here, so I'm gonna have to rectify this. The top of this is 96.50, which happens to be my stop. So we have overlapping UFOs. Little mistake on my side. I didn't realize that. I'm gonna have to bring this down to 93.25. So if I move it down to 93.25, okay, it's gonna be here. That's gonna force me to move my safety target much higher. So it's going to be, let me see, 3.5. I believe this would be the place, if I'm not mistaken. That would be the safety target for the 1-to-1. Okay, so the market just opened. Okay, we have a little bit of price movement, and I would guess that the market would be attracted by those green UFOs like they are magnets, because they are on-field orders waiting to get filled. So unless some new institution step in with a new pile of on-field orders to buy, the market should have a pretty reasonable, easy time to go down and get to the green, so we can see ourselves filled. Okay, that would be my expectation. But again, right at the market open, that's when many institutions, many large market players come on board, and they may create a new UFO. Okay, and if they create a new UFO, then then that's not going to happen. Okay, but again, those green UFOs are a little bit like magnets. Okay, so we're about to get filled.
Order filled.
So we just get filled. So we are in the trade. Okay, and now we are going to. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit on this part of the chart. Okay, just so I have an opportunity to begin my time stop calculation, my count. So this is the first entry that we had. Okay, the first entry that we had. Actually, I had it right before. This should be one below, right here. Here we go. So now I have it right. Okay, and you can see the little fight at the beginning of the market open, and normally the market should define itself and push. Okay, either up or down, but at this time of the day, this is when the market should define itself. This is the common pattern that, funnily enough, I remember saying that last week in a few sessions, we have seen pretty, kind of slow speed type of market opens. Okay, we have seen a little bit of, boringness coming in some of the sessions that we conducted, which is a matter of a coincidence. But normally at the market open, that's when the large market players place many of their initial orders for the day, And I mean, we can certainly see that on the sell side with new piles of sell on field orders enter the market, which is obviously not good for the trade, especially because now we are below the average. Okay, so 15 minutes from now, we may have actually change climate, going from a sunny day to a rainy day, and we may have to begin planning on shorts instead of longs if that's the case. Okay, but again, those on field orders, okay, may be filled very easily because the beginning of the beginning part of a trading day normally always represents a pretty strong fight between those large market players, where some begin their day maybe collecting profits from the prior day selling, and others begin the day by entering trades and building new positions. And you have this fight at the beginning that normally ends up quite quickly, and then you have the push. Okay, so what I'm looking for is the push. And of course I would prefer the push to be up, but to be honest, I don't mind if it's down. What I just want to happen, and this is just a wish, of course I have no control about it, but what I would like to happen is whatever happens to happen quickly. So if I'm right, get to my safety target quickly and remove my risk, and if I'm wrong, get to my stop quickly so I can plan on the next trade instead of just have to watch it. Is that making sense? So we are now on the second candle. Okay, second candle. So in a few moments we'll have the third candle begin trading, and notice how there is not much movement for now, so we may have to trigger our time stop rule. So we'll be watching for that if that's the case. We have a few more seconds to go, a couple of more seconds to go. Actually, we have the new third candle that just begins, so we're gonna be watching this and reacted to it. So we got 2 minutes to reach our safety target, and if not, we will apply the time stop rule. Okay. In the meantime, very quickly, I want to check what's happening to the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq had a close above, now is below. Yeah. So with the Nasdaq, we have a very similar situation to the S&P, where we are also now below the average, and obviously this is not the best news. Okay, but we are just waiting for, again, this red UFO, even though it's red, you can also look at it like it's a little bit of a magnet, isn't it? So this is likely going to attract prices to go up, just like the green UFOs below are likely to attract prices to go down, so those orders get filled. Okay, so right now we are right in the middle in between the two. Actually, we're exactly in the middle, so really it's kind of like flipping a coin, but the only thing that is in our favor is that we got still a little bit of blue here showing up on the DMI. So overall, the natural movement or natural direction for the market would be up. Okay. Wow. Come on, market. Just move, my friend. Just give us something. Either a movement to the upside or a movement to the downside, because if not, it's not going to be too productive. Okay, and we would like to produce some nice results. Okay, so we are 20 seconds away from triggering our time stop. Okay, 20 seconds away from triggering our time stop. So I think it's fair to say that it's not looking like we're going to reach our safety target in 5 seconds now that are left. Okay, so we are below the entry, so we are seeing a little bit of negative PNL here. Therefore, the attempt, now that we just had the third candle, the fourth candle just begin. Okay, so the attempt now would be to exit this trade for no loss. So the moment I see price cross on the other side and becomes of a yellow color, I will go ahead and exit the trade. Also, in case this was to happen very quickly, I will just bring my 2 targets to the entry point. Okay, so that way I will not miss it if it comes back up. Okay, so we are 2-3 ticks from getting out at that break-even plus 1 tick exit point, which is $25. That would just barely cover the commissions, and that's it. And eager for this to happen so I can replan on the next trade, both on the S&P and the Nasdaq. Okay, 3 ticks. Wow, I have to say I'm impressed, and I'm impressed in a pretty negative manner, because it's I think it's like 3 weeks in a row that we have this very slow beginning of the day. I mean, and some days are like that, and it's fair, but it's kind of like always happening on the Tuesday, and this is when we get together. So I'm not too happy about that, even though of course it's whatever it is, you know. But yeah, not too good. I mean, and you know what's happening here right now, where we have more red UFO and it's falling. I mean, of course, this is putting the trade in danger to hit the stop, but at least I'm happy to see that, because if I get stopped out now, I'll go ahead and with a new market condition, as you can see, we got red showing up on the DMI and everything. Now I'll be able to replan a new trade, and that new trade will likely now experience some movement. And if the trade experiences some movement, then we'll be able to make some money. Where at this moment in time, it's been, you know, very, very quiet, very, very slow. Okay, I mean, in the recent minutes, we did have a little bit of a push to the downside, but in the beginning part of the day, we got nothing. Okay. Yeah, the time stop is triggered by the candle on the left. Okay, and you use 3 to 5. I was using the rule of 3. Okay, and what happens with the time stop is that if you're in profit, you just collect the profit, and if you are not in a profit, then you just attempt to exit the trade at break even. That's why I got my target orders all the way at this point. Okay, of course I have no control. It will come back and take me out for break even. I have no control over that. So this trade may end up as a loss, which is the amount of money I was willing to lose. This is the amount of money I was open to put at risk when I planned this trade at the beginning. So I'm okay with that. Now, if instead of being in the blue, I had been above my entry, meaning that the P&L was showing golden color instead of blue color, it was golden, meaning I was in a profit, then I would have closed the trade for whatever profit that was. If it was $25, $75, $125, whatever it was, I would just have closed it with a market order. Okay, because the P&L was below my entry and therefore in a negative territory, so I just moved my target orders to entry plus 1 tick, and I'm just waiting for that to happen if that happens. Okay. Anyway, so we got 6 minutes to go until we have a new close below, and really nothing else to do with the S&P. So I want to look at the Nasdaq to see if I should anticipate something here. So the Nasdaq also is showing red. Okay, so what I'm going to anticipate to prepare myself and not to miss my trades is I'm going to start, because the DMI is showing red, we're going to start planning the targets with the 60-minute time frame. Now, in this case, and this is a similar question compared to the one that Marcus was asking earlier. Okay, in this case, we have the green UFO right there where price is. Okay, now, my proposal here, okay, because price has been touching that UFO, okay, my proposal here would be to enter the trade and shoot for the next UFO as a target. Okay, if the price was right above and didn't touch the UFO, okay, if the price was right above and didn't touch the UFO, then this UFO would become the target, and because it's so close, then you would have no trade. Okay, but in this case, we have already touched the UFO, as you can see if I show you a chart with the candles where you can see the wick when inside. Okay, so some of those unfilled orders have been removed already. Okay, and because some of those unfilled orders have been removed already, then I'll go for the next UFO for a target. Okay, so dot on close, and therefore we have the target for the Nasdaq on the 60-minute time frame. It's going to be 78.88.5. That would be the target for the trade. So disabling the UFOs, going back to the 15 and coming back to the beginning part. And then for the S&P, what are we going to have? Well, with the S&P, we're still in the same situation. We have the red. Okay, we have the red. So same story. It's going to be a close below the average, or it's looking like that, unless we have a very fast move to the upside. So I'm going to set my target with the S&P by using the 60-minute time frame. But with the S&P, notice that we are inside this UFO. So this UFO is ignored, and therefore the target would be the next one, which happens to be 2994.25. Okay, and that one really doesn't make me happy. It's very, very, very close. very near to the current price, is like 2 points away. So in other words, I'm going to ignore the shorts on the S&P. Oh, not this one. I'm going to ignore the shorts on the S&P, and I will only plan on the shorts on the Nasdaq, just because of how far that UFO is on the Nasdaq, where how close that UFO is on the S&P. Okay, in the meantime, we're having a little bit of buying pressure here, so that may have us rush with the Nasdaq to plan the trade. So let me see, we have 79.55, so this is going to be just a little higher when we get the sorry, this is going to be a little lower, I meant, when we get the update in 2 minutes from now. So let's say 55 becomes around, let's say 53. So 53 would be in the middle of this guy. This guy begins at 50, and this guy begins at 50, and so it seems reasonable to plan on a 50 as an entry. We have overlapping UFOs. It seems to me that 62.75 is the further mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and prepare myself with an order to sell 2 contracts with an entry at 79.50, with the final target, as I just said a minute ago, being 78.88.5, with the stop located at 63. Okay, so 79.63, that would be a stop. 79.63, that would be a stop. Okay, and the only thing I have pending to calculate is 13 points of risk from 50 to 63. So if I take 79.50 and a lower 13 points, that would be 79.37. Okay, and this would be the trade. So I'm just gonna wait less than 1 minute to see this moving average, what is the new value of the average. Okay, and if it's between 50 and 55, which is the UFO on the right, then I'll click send order. If not, I may need to rectify my entry. And I know you have multiple comments on the chat box which I have missed, so I'll come back to you in just a second, guys. Okay, so we are just a few seconds away from the, that's it, we got it. So the current value is 53. 53 happens to be somewhere here in the middle. Yeah, I'm not so comfortable with the 50 because 53 is quite high. So I'm going to change my entry to 79.52.5. So basically I'm going to be using the darker side of the UFO, the inner circle. Okay, so 72.5, that's going to be the entry. That's making my target to be 10.5. 10.5. So that, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be 42. Okay, so I'm gonna click send order. Yes, and this is the trade, entry, stop, tier 1, and final target. Okay, so that's the trade we have. Quick look at the S&P. So we went very close. We went very close to the exit. We didn't get to the exit. We are getting now into a green UFO. So hopefully this will push the price back up to our break even. But again, as I said, we are not gonna short the S&P because we had, unless he's gone, let me take a look, unless he's gone, yeah, we still have the 2 green UFOs right there. Okay, and I don't care about the first one, but the second one is too close for a proper profit. It was only two points away. Okay, so hopefully this green UFO will push the price back up so we can exit this initial trade that basically went nowhere, and hopefully as price is going back up, it will actually go up as well on the Nasdaq and hit our entry using those 2 UFOs on the upper part, as you can see. Okay, we have more UFOs below, but those, the 46 and the 41, are not lining up with the average. Okay, so I guess they will not be strong enough. They may be, but they should not be strong enough compared to the ones on the top, which, because they are higher, they should be stronger. On top of that, they are lining up with the average. So those are better UFOs. That's why we have our entry up there instead of using 41 or 46. Okay, good. So let me take a look at your questions, because I missed a few. I missed a few. So I have Brent, Jose. I think I may have this before, but do you see better performance with UFOs using the latest TradeStation? It's the same, exactly the same thing. Marcus, another question. I'm watching FX futures in different time frames. In the 15 common, I have a no setup, and in the 4, it's a common setup. Take both or one. Take both or none. This needs to be defined in your trading plan, which is the time frames that you use. You don't want to do it just because today you have that case and you are now wondering what to do. So this is something that you need to define in your trading plan. And if you have decided to use both time frames, then because you have a correlation, then you would use half the size for each trade. Okay, good. Brent, I am using multiple workspaces for several symbols like you, but I have to keep turning the UFOs on and off to keep TradeStation responsive. Yes, well, you can certainly reduce the amount of candles you have per chart. Okay, in my charts, I'm using very few candles and it's more than enough. I'm using, here, I think I'm using 89 candles and it's plenty. I got everything on the screen I need. Okay, so you don't need more than that. And if you lower that number, you will alleviate your computer because AutoUFOs is doing a lot of things and therefore using some of the CPU. But also, unfortunately, as you probably know, because I said that before, TradeStation being a 32-bit application can only use a maximum 4 gigabits of RAM memory. And there is a moment in time where you add too much data, then you run into troubles and we cannot fix it. Okay, so just reduce the amount of bars per chart. Marcus, yeah, okay, got it, perfect. You're answering the question too, Dirk. All the major indexes are green, so we should see a push soon. Well, what a very undecided there, right? We have been ranging from 3,000 to 2096, so basically is a 4.4 to 5 point range. My God. Not ideal. Orlando, Jose, how are you? Good to see you. Well, I meant I read your message like I'm reading it to you instead of you say it to me. Interesting. Brian, how are you, Brian? Hope it's not like yesterday. Snell moves. Yes, yesterday was one of those days as well. Brent, and sometimes it happens, okay, and it's fine. What is bothering me a little bit, if you don't mind me to say it, it's that it happened a few times while we are together, and since we don't get together every day, I'm always very excited to get together so we can really have fun. And of course, when the market is moving like that, then it's less fun. So that's why. But we gotta keep cool and keep focused. Okay. So Brent, Jose, how long did you say you use for a time stop again? Yes, I answered that before. Is 3 to 5 candles. Marcus, I only have TradeStation and Google Chrome open. Yeah. So again, Brent, reduce the amount of candles per chart and it will make a big impact. Okay. Dear, Windows is just a nightmare. It's a bit better if you use virtual machine like in map. Yeah, well, it could be better depending on the Windows machine you have too. If you have a powerful GPU, probably it would be better to use it with Windows than Apple, putting on the side preferences and which operating system you love. But the key here, it's not Windows or Mac. The key here is the amount of candles in the charts. Okay. Yeah, Brent, I hear you. This is about the time of the morning. TradeStation starts flickering unresponsive. Jose, TradeStation seems to be working smoothly. Maybe it's time for a new PC. Well, again, a new PC can help. Talking to TradeStation over the phone and asking them to help you with making sure TradeStation is smooth may help. Reinstalling your Windows may help. But what will help the most is reduce the amount of candles in the chart. Okay, so I think I say it a few times now. Marcus, how many ticks of wiggle room do we add to the stop? 1. Is either you're right or wrong. No, wiggle room, it's another way to say hoping room. We don't hope. You're right or wrong, that's it. Okay. What else? Let me see. I don't want to miss any question. Yeah, got it, Brent. Yeah, Brent, TradeStation is 32-bit, no matter if it's TradeStation 10, TradeStation 9.5, it's 32-bit, okay, which is obviously that's a problem, okay. Okay, got it. So I went to the end of the questions, okay, and what do we have? So the S&P, not many changes, still waiting. The Nasdaq, more or less in the same place. More or less in the same place. So again, if in 8 minutes we'll have a new update for the average, isn't it? So when we have a new update, probably it's going to be lower. So if the update is lower, I'll bring my entry. Okay, I will bring my entry to the beginning of that UFO, which is going to be around 50, because this is now 52. So I will bring it down a little bit. Okay, just to make sure I don't miss the trade. Okay, but really what we need, it's a push. Okay, it's a push to the upside to get our feel on the Nasdaq trade. Okay, so market, be nice to us, please. In the meantime, while we're asking the market to be nice to us, back to the Forex. Oh, nice. The Nasdaq, the Australian dollar had a nice push to the downside, going below 70.15, where we had set. Actually, I believe this happened. Yeah. Let me see. Something interesting happened here. It's giving an error message. Okay, here. Yeah, so we have two UFOs now, two UFOs that's likely going to make this trade even better. Let me take a look at the 4-hour time frame now, because earlier with the Aussie dollar we didn't have room, but now that that UFO has been taken out, we may have nice room. Now we can move down all the way to 69.69. Okay, so let's replan the trade on the Australian dollar. So it's going to be 0.6969. Of course, we have 2 because it's a buy order, so it's going to be 69.71. Okay, so that's going to be the trade. That's going to be the trade going back to the 1 hour. Okay, and now let's go ahead and write the parameters for this trade. 70.20 is the current value, and it's going to be lower in 6 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to use this UFO for entry, 70.17, and I'm going to use both UFOs merge like if it's one, because from 23 to 25 is only 2 pips, and remember we need to add 5 plus 2 for the stops, so really our stop is going to have to be above 28. Okay, so we're gonna use those two. Okay, which this is gonna end up producing a trade of a pretty high quality, I would say. I'm pretty excited about the setup. Okay, so the stop for this trade would be 0.7029. Okay, and then we add 7, so that's going to be 36. Okay, then we're going to have a short entry. Okay, which is going to be located at 0.7017. That's going to be a short entry. That would set a safety target to be located at. So what do we have? 36 minus 17. That is 19, correct? That's 19. So if we push the target from 0.17 and we push it 19 down, that is going to be 69.98. That would be the safety target. Okay, and then we would have a final target, 98, and then we would have a final target located at 0.6971, which is the figure I shared with you earlier. Okay, so this trade, my friends, is valid. Okay, and if you want to take a screenshot, this is your time. And from there, we will move back to the equity index markets to see what's happening. Let me see. Tad, how are you, Tad? Good to see you. Do you also adjust the stop? Yes. You mean when the trade starts moving in your direction, I guess, right? The answer is yes. Okay, and I'm gonna show you a screenshot in a minute with the rules on how to do that. And I believe that all of you should have had time to copy these instructions. So I'm just gonna erase the screen. Let me show you the rules for the stops. Okay, so the rules for the stops is every time you have additional evidence means that new UFOs form in the edge time frame, new UFOs moving in the direction of the trade. So then what you would have a replacement of the stop to be located on top or below, depending if you're long or short, of the new UFO that just formed, which is your additional evidence. Okay, so that obviously would be a manual action that you would do, little by little. Okay, good. Okay, so back to the equities. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so we went, the highest price we went is 40.75. Our entry is 72, so we went 1 point and 25 away from the entry on the Nasdaq. With the S&P, we are about to hit our stop. Finally, we'll be able to exit this trade. Okay, and it's good because if this happens quickly, please happen quickly. So in 3 minutes from now, we'll have the new close on the S&P. And because price went all the way to 94 already, 93, 94, as you can see, then that green UFO that was bothering me earlier, then will not be a concern anymore. Okay, and therefore I will have permission to get short both the S&P and the Nasdaq. Okay, so let me see, what do we have? The next one. So on the Nasdaq, the next one is located at 2948.5. Okay, which that one is a very, very far away UFO. That's going to be your target because notice how the current price is inside that UFO. Therefore, you ignore that UFO because orders are already being taken away with price trading at this price. And on top of that, because it's a down market, we just got filled finally on that exit. Okay, so we are out of the S&P trade. Not a successful one, but is great because now we are able and allowed to go ahead and begin planning trades in the opposite direction. Okay, so in the opposite direction, we're gonna have a close in 2 minutes, so we need to be ready for that. So we got 97. If price goes up, it's gonna be a little higher than 97. This is basically 99. That may work, but it's quite high. Okay, it may work, but it's quite high. So what I'll do is I will focus on the Nasdaq first because I think the Nasdaq may have better options to have UFOs lining up with the average, given the fact that we got multiple UFOs upon UFOs. Okay, so we got 50.92. Okay, 20 seconds to go. Okay, I'm just gonna cancel the order here and replace the whole thing so it's a little clearer from a placement of order point of view instead of rectifying. I could have replaced my orders, but I think it's easier like that. Okay, so I'm gonna short. Okay, we're shorting here. Okay, I've got my template ready. So we just got the update, isn't it? And now we are pointing at 47. So 47, the top of this is 49. 46 is right here, 46, 49. And this one, yeah. So, I'm a little concerned if I use this one, I may enter too deep inside. So I'm going to use the bottom part of this one, which is 50.75, or this one is 50.75. But this is going to be in the other side. Okay, so I'm going to have to use the highest of the two here. So this is 49.5, sorry, 44, and this one is 44. Okay, so I'm going to go for 44. Okay, so trade. Short with 2 limit, 1 stop. We're going to enter at 79.44. That's the entry. Final target, it's 78.88.5. That's the same we had before. Stop, same as the same we had before. It's going to be on the top of all these collection of UFOs that overlap each other. So it's going to be 58.75. It's going to be 63. Okay, so 79.63. Pretty wide stop actually, but should work well because we have many UFOs in our favor. So unless the market is really a teaser today, it should be fine. So we got 44 to 63, that's 19 points. So if I lower this by 19 points, it's going to be 79.25. Okay, that would be the plan, and therefore I'm going to send the order. Yes, so I now have the order in the system, entering where this UFO is. Stop is above the whole collection of UFOs. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so we have the trade properly set in the system. Okay, so again, we just need now price to come back and be patient. Okay, just because the market is falling like a rock, it doesn't mean it's not going to come back. Okay, and when I say falling like a rock, really it's not that much falling, because from 3,000 to 2983 is like 7 points. So 7 points is like in like an hour. It's actually in the boring side, much more than in the exciting side. Okay, new UFO form in here at 94, 96, but that is not overlapping 97. So then we ignore that one. Okay, we ignore that one. And if the market keeps falling, then that UFO will be in play later on, 15 minutes from now. So you guys may be able to use that one later on your own once the session is over. In the meantime, we got the NASDAQ that seems to be fighting to go back up. I would love it. So we get our fill, and therefore we get ourselves positioned to make some money on the way down should the market reach our entry price. Marcus, how about NASDAQ stop at 79.49.75? Yeah, it would be in the white space. Okay, it would be in the white space, but I am concerned about that, Marcus, because what's going to happen is that as the market moves up from 37 to the average, which is 48, that's a 10-point move. That will certainly impact the average, that will go higher, and the average will not be 48. The average may end up being 50 at that time, and 50 is above 79.49.75 that you have selected yourself. So in this case, I need to take this into consideration and move my stop all the way to 63, which is not ideal because it makes the risk of the trade to be quite great, and therefore unless your account is quite large, you will not be able to take the trade. And also, to reach safety target is going to take a while, because the further away the stop is, then the further away your safety target is. So that's not ideal, but it's what the market is giving us today, right? And again, you guys, if some of you are trading more markets than the equities, and you may be trading crude oil now, you may be trading the euro futures now instead of taking this trade, and that would be a valid choice to avoid the trades with the greatest risk and use trades with lesser risk. That would be very intelligent, actually. Okay, and that way you would overcome the days when the market is boring, like today, and you would use other markets that are moving nicely, like the Australian dollar futures was moving very nicely, isn't it? So maybe you could have caught some of those trades with the lower time frames on the Australian dollar futures if you had traded that market. So as I have said a few times in the session for now, I am simply focusing on the S&P and the NASDAQ, and as the group is growing, I have plans to add more markets in the future, but also I will only do that the day we add more sessions as well, because if I was to trade too many markets in one session, it could also be confusing. Okay, so we'll need to be organized slightly differently for me to be able to use other markets and be helpful instead of be confusing. Okay, but for you guys that some of you are exposed to the methodology for a while and you are more advanced, okay, you can certainly do that. Anyway, so since there is very little here to do, we're just waiting for us to get filled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the euro to see if we can plan a trade on the euro. And you know what? Since I planned this initial trade on the 60-minute time frame, just to give you a little more diversity, so I'm going to move to the time frame here, 4 hour and 21. Okay, and to add a little more diversity as well, I'm going to move to the minors instead of the majors. And I will skip the Australian dollar since we already planned a trade on that, and I will look at the Canadian Swiss franc. Canadian Swiss franc, we have a contradiction. Okay, contradiction. So I will pass. Okay, actually I don't have a contradiction. I don't know how I looked at this. Yeah, we have a close below the average and we got red, so no contradiction. So let me see, 78.93. 93, 98, kind of, but not exactly. And then we got so many UFOs above. Talk about overlapping UFOs and big risk. Okay, huge wide UFOs. I'll pass on this one. Canadian yen, Canadian dollar yen, no UFO lining up with the average. Swiss franc yen, confirmed market condition, average is 88, the UFO is 82, doesn't work. Euro, Australian dollar, challenging condition at the moment. Euro Canadian dollar, challenging condition at the moment. Euro Swiss franc, confirmed, average is 110.03. 110.03 is in the middle of nowhere. It's right there. So we're gonna go for the next one. Euro pound, Interesting things happening in the UK today, isn't it? Close below the average. DMI is red. 89.80, 89.80. No, it's too deep into the UFO. Doesn't work. Euro yen. What do we have with the euro yen? 120.90. Doesn't work. Euro kiwi. What do we have? Nope. Contradiction. Pound, Aussie dollar, challenging condition, pound, Canadian dollar, contradiction with the DMI, Great British Pound, Swiss franc. We have 51, and that's 57. Pound, yen. I'm moving quick, guys, because of the time. Hopefully you are following what I'm doing. That one is not good. Pound, New Zealand dollar, we got a confirmed condition. Average 184.90. 184.90 is I would say it could be good because that one here is 184.80. okay, 184.80, but we are trading at 185.55. so when this falls and falls and falls and falls and falls all the way to the average, this average would have bent. And I would not be surprised, given the distance from 185.30 to 184.90, that's 40 pips. I would not be surprised to see this bend more or less by the amount needed to reach 80. Okay, so let's go ahead and plan a trade here. Okay, so I'm gonna look for the target in the daily time frame. So activating UFOs on the daily time frame. We are looking at 187. So this is the pound kiwi. We are looking at a target at 187.43. It's a sell order, so we'll leave it like that. Okay, this is our target right here, red UFO. Okay, so we will do that, and I will go back to the 4-hour time frame here, and we will plan an entry. Okay, here we go. So we will plan an entry, we will plan a final target above, we will plan on a safety target, we will plan on a long entry, and finally we will plan on a stop. Okay, so the stop is going to be 184.61, and then we need to add 5. Okay, so that's going to be 56. Okay, this is coming from here. That's the stop. The entry is going to be from here, and then we add 2 because it's a buy order. So it's going to be 184, and it's going to be 83. Okay, I round up 85. I round it up to 81, and then I add 2, so it's 83. So we are looking at more or less 30 pips of risk. It's actually 27. So if we add 27 pips to the target, okay, so that's going to be 185. So 85.10, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be, I believe I did it right. 185.10 will be the safety target. And the final target, as I said at the beginning, it's going to be 187.43. Okay, so you have another 200 pips to go from 85 to 87. It could be a very beautiful trade, and with a safety target quite close to the entry to remove the risk very quickly and be left in a risk-free trade. Okay, so this is looking good, and the trade meets our criteria, and therefore it's a valid trade to be executed. Okay, so guys, here we go. A few more seconds for the screenshot. I'll come back to the equities, take a super quick look, and we will call it the day. How about, okay, I talked about that. The height, time for that UFO base scan. I'm not sure what you mean, the height. Geneva, got to go. Thank you, Jose. My pleasure, Geneva. Very good. Let's take a look at the equity. So the market kept falling. Okay, we never got back to our entry. So what's going to happen is in a few minutes from now, we're going to have an update. That 45 will become something lower. So you may have to reposition your entry using the next UFO here. Okay, and that's what's going on with the Nasdaq. With the S&P, 96. Okay, 96 will go lower. So with the S&P, I would say we may be able to use this one. Okay, which would be a much better trade from a point of view of risk, because of course the Nasdaq now would have 4 UFOs overlapping each other, and this increases the risk greatly. Also increases the probability, but also increases the risk. Okay, so a balanced situation would be preferred. Anyway, my friends, good to get together as always. I will see you again a little later in the week. On Thursday, we'll look at the longer term trades. And in the meantime, keep up the good work. And hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit more agile or fun type of beginning part of the session, because today it's not been too exciting. So that's what it is. Anyway, you guys take care. We're here for you. If you need us, shoot us an email if you have any question. Make sure before you conclude the session, you click on the thumbs up. As long as you have enjoyed the session, which I would hope that's the case. And then if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do by clicking subscribe and click on the little bell so you get notifications. My friends, see you on Thursday. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.